Hello, everyone, and welcome to State of the Realm. We're back now post-patch 6.5, and while the majority of features and funness like Fall Guys and Criterion aren't due out for well, at least till the end of the month or several months from now, we at least have a basis with which to start. We have the part 1 of the MSQ, we have our new trial, we have our new dungeon, and we have all the other little bits and bobs that come with our usual patch release. So we're going to do our first impressions of that today. There will be spoiler talk here. It's not a full-on spoiler cast, but considering how much the MSQ is a part of the base patch, we have no choice but to talk about it. So, I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Happy, and of course, joining me, my partner in crime, my boy in blue. What's up, Sly?
What's going on, Abs? How you doing?
I'm doing very good today, actually, Sly. Do you know why?
Why is that?
Because I got my Zeramis mount.
Hey.
Yep. Only cost me 15
Very
million gil.
nice.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Listen, I wasn't waiting until March or April for that, whenever it might have been.
So you cashed out of really trying to farm Zeramis for the mount. Wow.
Yeah, I cashed out. Sly, I have
pretty Chad thing to do.
360 million gil. Now I have 345 million, but I had 360 million. That's the whole reason I have money, is so I can chat out of things.
Yeah.
Besides, I lost with an 80 to an 84. I then rolled an 84, lost to a 95. I then rolled a 3, and then I rolled like a 60. I was like, eliminating all odds. I'm making the odds 100%.
I gotta wait until. Well, I can make quite a bit between now and Dawn Trail. And then make some more at the beginning of Dawn Trail.
Yeah.
Probably get back up to like 180, 200 mil.
I'm already getting materia stuff ready for that. I'm starting to organize ahead of time for all of my transmutations.
Wait, you're getting your crafter materia?
Yeah. To sell it. I'm not going to
Oh,
craft. I'm just going to fucking sell it. What are you talking about?
Oh, God damn it.
Selling to the desperate masses.
I wanted to be proud of you, Happy. You let me
No.
down. You let Shannon Sharp down. God damn it.
Who is Shannon Sharp?
You haven't seen the Gatorade commercial? Like
Sly, I haven't watched a television in a decade. I have YouTube Premium.
It comes on Twitch too.
I have YouTube Premium and Turbo for the past decade as well. I haven't seen an ad. I haven't seen anything that isn't a Super Bowl ad that is shared on social media in the last decade.
Either way, you let Shannon Sharp down.
Okay. Well, too fucking bad, Shannon Sharp. Okay. Anyway, this is going to be...
Sorry, Shay. He didn't mean it.
Yes, I did.
God damn it.
Listen, if whoever that is watches this, I would be shocked. Okay.
I would too, actually.
Yeah. I don't even know them. For all I know, they could be a huge Final Fantasy fan, but on principle alone, I'm going to say I'd be shocked.
Hall of Fame football player has their own podcast, which is really good, by the way.
Okay. Anyway, so we're going to be talking about patch 6.5 today. Just first impressions on the story, little bits and bobs. Like I said, bits and bobs here. That's my term for the day. Bits and bobs. That's my phrase
bits
of the day.
Bits and bobs.
Yeah, there you go. Because the base patch is always kind of the one where people go, yeah, new patch. And they're like, wait, this is in 0.51. This is in 0.55. This is in 0.55. We don't know when this is. Tiers not unlocked yet. Tomes are still capped. They're like, please. It's the desperate, it's new, but also I'm done. Everyone's favorite time to both have a great time and for it to be over way too soon.
Yep.
It's okay. Everyone's still playing BG3. Still trying to get through their first campaigns.
How?
I'm not done with my first campaign. I'm also only playing once a week for like 5 hours. So.
Yeah, that is true.
Act 3, woohoo, just got there.
Hey, proud of you.
Yeah.
How the real game starts.
The Act 2, I'm not going to say who it was, but the Act 2 boss we killed in like 2 attacks. We couldn't believe how easy it was.
Well, you do have a monk, right?
we had a sorcerer do 2 fireballs for 50 damage apiece, and then I did like another 180, and they were dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a heck of a time. Either way, patch 6.5. So thank you to our sponsors real quick before I forget. I did it like the week before. Thank you to our sponsors over on Patreon for supporting. They don't have to support. They choose to support. All of our content's available for free on YouTube. So anyone over there, thank you very much. And Steel Series, of course. Steel Series, actually, I'm trying to get in touch with someone there, and just because I haven't actually put in a hardware request in a while. They have a new microphone. The Alias.
Oh.
Yes, this is an Elgato mic because Steel Series didn't have one like this before. Now Steel Series has one like this. So looking to try out that new Alias and see how it is. Although I won't be bringing it to TwitchCon. I've got this for TwitchCon. This is my John Madden headset. Steel Series branded John Madden headset. So works pretty well, in my opinion.
Nice.
Yeah. So you can get that at 12% off discount code. You know, that's how the sponsor works. All right. Well, with that, 6.5.
6.5.
Overall impression, not picking out any particular detail.
Overall impression, again, really just solid. Like, honestly, I didn't have any faults with it at all. That's saying something, because I usually have like some nitpicky stuff with the pack, but this one,
Would you say it's what you expected?
I say I'm content. So yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Okay. That's fair enough. I'm in the same boat. There are some things I like that they handled better than usual. One thing in particular that I will for certain be bringing up, which is the main reason why this is even a spoiler allowed episode, because there's zero chance I don't talk about one particular thing in this episode. So I might as well just pull that Band-Aid off without waiting another week or so. And then there's a few things I was like, they probably could have done a little better, but I didn't really mind. And the more I've done it, the more I'm kind of okay with the way that it is. But I'm, of course, waiting Criterion in a few weeks. You know, that's more my bread and butter. Plus, we talked about it last week. Tataru's, I think, is going to be really nice to have a conclusion for because it's been good so far. The Allied Beast Tribe stuff, you know, like all this stuff I'm really excited for is still on the way. And this is a lot of maintenance work and just kind of one push forward, I suppose. Oh, yeah, and one of the biggest highlights we get to talk about today is feet. Anyway, so...
Excuse me?
Feet, yeah.
Feet?
We'll get to talk about feet later.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Free feet, even. Well, I guess these feet do cost a monthly subscription, but, you know, plus the cost of Endwalker. Yeah.
Boy.
And soon the cost of Dawn Trail. Those feet are going to go a long way.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. So I'm going to start with MSQ because it is the thing I think is the highlight of the patch. I think some people would also argue Myths of the Realm, but I think those are the two highlights, so you could kind of go either way with it.
Yeah, either or.
Yeah. So for this MSQ, we are at the finale of Endwalker's Zero arc. And before we get into the specifics, I think that for me, this was a satisfactory conclusion to what feels like kind of a condensed in-between story. I wouldn't even call it filler, and I think they wanted to establish that by the end of it, that it's not just filler, because they pull a lot of pieces into one place and then kind of place them to the side and say, we want that on your mind for now, but we're going to go take care of some other stuff. Very reminiscent of A Realm Reborn and how they often did that, where they put a piece in place and then they just put it to the side. So I got that vibe a lot from this one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing that concerns me now is the same thing that concerned me with Shadowbringers as a whole. Once we move on to Dawn Trail, will we have any reason to go back and check on Golbez and Zero? Will we have any reason to?
I think this answered your question because this does that for the first, pretty much. I mean, Endwalker did it a little bit before with some unvoiced scenes, But I think this is the showcase that, yes, there are reasons to go back. And while we have to wait a while often, like the payoff usually is like a super long one, that this was evident that they thought of that in advance. So it's pretty nice. And I was glad to see that they did the things I wanted them to do. And actually, in a place of above expectation, MSQ is definitely the place for me where they went above what I expected. Even more above than I had written off that they could possibly go, in all honesty. Even if just in small bits. So, stories wrapped up pretty much as we expected similarly, I feel like, with a few twists. You know, we got to go stop Golbez and Zeramis. You know, we can't let Zeramis. We got to save Ejdaya. You know, those were the goals. Those are what we accomplished. I think it's fair enough to say that's just kind of what they accomplished. But most importantly, it acts as the growth spurt of Zero that's kind of been building up this entire time. Yeah. And she's no longer a fucking robot.
Yeah, she's no longer baby. She's a grown woman. And her and Golbez are going to make Void babies.
I don't think they've gotten that far yet, Sly.
They'll get there.
They'll get there? Are you're in the shipping club for Zero and Golbez?
Yeah.
Well, I was just doing the Golbez trial, and he does start by saying, if you would stand against our crusade, then come! So there you go. He's ready to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're skipping a few steps in there. It's fine. It's all right. I know Golbez is down bad, so that's absolutely fine. Yeah, see, I'm still a bigger fan of Zero and Euless than I am of Zero Golbez.
Yeah, that moment that we had to say, like, yeah, Zero gives her regards. Euless had that face. And that face for a second, he tried to play it off so smooth, but I'm like, yeah, you're gonna miss that chick, aren't you? Yeah.
Euless loses again.
Poor Euless.
Listen, it's all right. He got to share some hot buns. It was a good memory, at the very least. So It basically is just, as they set up in the previous patch, we need the light from the first to pierce the darkness in the 13th. Now, we didn't exactly know how they were going to go about it, but we have our new MacGuffin. I suppose. Whenever they need a MacGuffin, Sid and Nero have got us covered most of the time.
Yep.
There are MacGuffin makers, and now we have these ethereal rods that can just like tether together ether and like tether it and transfer it.
The balls.
They start as balls, they become rods. You put the balls on the ground and they grow. That's it. Simple as that. And we just literally like 10 feet apart from each other, daisy chain. Like, I'm going to assume there's like 1,000 of them daisy chain because they're barely even apart. They go like, it's like 10 of them fits a football field and they're supposed to be crossing these vast distances.
Yeah.
So got a lot of those, and that's our new, like, okay, remember that for when we need it in the future, whether it's warding scales, which we also got new ones of apparently, or these ethereal conductors. That's our new MacGuffin tool. They just literally lift ether light from the wave of light and just send it to the crystal tower, and Beck Lug just reads a quick instruction manual from Graha on how to send it to the void, and just like, okay. It's like, I believe these characters can do these things, but they're just like, okay.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. I got that. Yeah, absolutely. Now, one very exciting thing actually happened when I first got to the first, and I don't know if you noticed it, Sly.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the dialogue with Beck Lug when you first get to the first and tell her that you need a body for Zero?
Not exactly.
She says, you're having me do this again, basically. And do you know who she's referring to when she says again?
Unokalhai.
My boy Unokalhai.
See, that's the thing. I didn't get that because I didn't do Unokalhai's.
That's so upsetting. That means you've missed something else, too.
Yeah.
Unokalhai is, they're finally giving him his due diligence. It only took us 10 years for him to finally have any sort of referencing. I mean, Unokalhai's been our local, oh, I did some Void stuff? Let me go see if Unokalhai has anything to say. Every fucking patch for 10 years, we've been going back to that man to see if he has anything else to say. And finally, it's the other way around. Although he did have new stuff to say after this patch too. So.
Fuck.
Gotta go do your Void quest, man. Because I'm going to, I mean, to be fair, I don't even have to spoil the Void quests to talk about Unokalhai here. Because you know why he's on the first. You know who he is. So, there's no secrets there. You just haven't done the actual quest. But he's here. He's here. And I've done the quest, and they're finally talking about him. He's finally being mentioned. And I love it.
One day.
No, you do it soon. What are you even waiting for? Do you not have another job at 80? How do you not have one of each role at 80?
I do now.
Well, then fucking go do it. Get off your ass and go do Shit or get off the pot, Sly. Come on.
Do you think I did all the role quests for this expansion?
Not for this one, for the last one. I'm asking you to go back 10 levels and do that shit. I'm not asking you to do this shit. Chat, stay on him about it. Don't let him not do it. Next time he's on and he's like, I'm going to do this, be like, no. Go do that. Go get your Void quest done.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You'll thank me later. Which ones haven't you done?
Okay.
Do you know which ones you haven't done? I'd assume tank and healer. You've done at least one of them, which I know is melee. You did the melee DPS or the physical DPS one.
For the role quest for
Shadowbringers.
Shadowbringer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just melee. So yeah, I can do all of them now, so yeah.
Go do them, Sly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Now, how much of this was a surprise at all? This felt pretty much as we expected, other than I think the MacGuffin and maybe one other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Was this all on pace for you?
Yeah, this was pretty much like expected.
I will say it took longer. It took about as long as you thought it was going to take to get through the MSQ. I said probably an hour and a half, 2 hours at most. This was more of a 3.5 hour endeavor, which is, I think, longer than Shadowbringers 0.5.
Yeah.
I think it's longer. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's longer than most because they did actually treat it as like a story, like arc finale, like mini arc finale.
And we usually get this kind of finale earlier in the expansion, a little bit earlier.
Yeah. But you get in 0.3
this
normally.
One kind of dragged on. Yeah. And this one kind of dragged on.
Dragged on, not really. It's a completely different. Normally, 0.3 is finalizing 0.0. Now 0.5 is finalizing 0.1.
Yeah, we usually get the beginning of our next, the setup for the next expansion in 0.3, like later half 0.3, 0.4. Yeah, we didn't get that at all because like this whole thing was a setup for our next big 10-year adventure.
Or not. We have no idea. They haven't said we're getting another 10-year adventure. They haven't been they haven't confidently said we're doing that again. They said they don't know how long they want the next arc or, the exact details of it yet. So I think that's why they made sure to lay pieces here. One thing they definitely didn't skimp on was Final Fantasy IV references, however, when it came to this patch.
Of course.
I pretty much figured out what was going to happen, although not entirely. I didn't predict the whole thing. When our girl Zero looked into the crystal of light and saw herself, I was like, this is a Mount Ordeals moment. This is 100% a Mount Ordeals moment. She didn't treat it the same way, but I'm like, well, she's going to be infused with light now. And then sure enough, almost dies. They're just like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, it's light. Just with
light.
no
I can
warning.
Do this. Yeah, you need help though. You can't do this by yourself.
Yeah, would have been interesting. Although the thing is, her doing it by herself, her thinking she could do it by herself, and then needing help is pretty much Zero's entire story arc. Every time anyone tries to offer her help, she's just like, why? Why would you do that? And then they help her, and she's like, oh, I get it now. Let me go do stuff alone again. It's like she never fully learns. But that bit, the finale of everything makes a lot more sense. And I gotta ask you something. I've had this discussion all week so far.
Okay.
How familiar are you with Final Fantasy IV? Before I ask this, like, how much do you know? Have you played through it?
Fairly familiar, but again, it's been like years since I've gone through everything, including after years.
God, after years. Why'd you have to ruin a good conversation by bringing that up?
I mean, you've done it too.
I did. That's why I know you've ruined a good conversation by bringing it up. That's why I know. Did it recently too. That game sucked. Anyway, I'll say it. I don't care. I don't want to play After Years ever again. So I've seen a lot of people saying that this is too Final Fantasy IV. Now, for me, this is 100% identical to Crystal Tower in terms of how Final Fantasy it is. If anything, Crystal Tower might be even more egregious to some degree. But it's completely identical in structure and execution to the Crystal Tower pre-Shadowbringers, before we had all the other stuff involving it. And it's now become not even a Final Fantasy III staple at this point. So where are you on that scale?
That it's too Final Fantasy IV?
Are you in the it's like right for me? Is it too much Final Fantasy IV and not enough 14? Like, is it teetering on any lines?
I think it was creeping to the point where it was about to overstay its welcome.
Okay. Do you think that's because it was every patch versus Final Fantasy III's Crystal Tower being just odd-numbered patches? Or do you think it's the context and content itself?
Little column A, little column B on that one.
Mm-hmm.
The way it was written, yeah, it makes sense how they wove it in and everything. It's just, and I'm not like, again, like I said, it didn't overstay its welcome. It nearly got there though. And I'm glad that this was the point. This was the cutoff point. I'm glad that this was the cutoff point, because if I went into 0.655 with this, yeah, it would have been a little bit too much. Like this entire expansion, nearly the entire expansion was Final Fantasy IV.
Really just the post. I mean, Endwalker itself isn't that much.
We could have called this the after years, and it would have been a better game than the after years. But
that's a low bar.
Yeah, very. But yeah, it didn't. Would you for in the future, in a future expansion, want them to kind of go down this route again for another Final Fantasy?
So I prefer original. Like, I like references, but I prefer as original as you can get it. But I also do love seeing when they incorporate classic Final Fantasy elements into something that feels uniquely Final Fantasy 14. That is what I feel like they accomplished here. I do think it's just an overload of frequency that was the problem. I think if, for example, this was just a trial series and it was a side patch, I think people wouldn't think as much of it, even if it was the exact same quality, quantity, everything. So for me, that doesn't make any sense, because it's like, if the quests would be exactly the same, what they're classified as, to me, doesn't make a difference. I'm always about expanding the world. The Void is something we've dealt with piecemeal, like patch to patch. It's been a long time thing. This was our first time getting a real look at it, understanding how its territories worked, how its power structure worked. Everything else up to then has just been conjecture. The 4 fiends were written completely independently of their previous characters, given full backstories that take you into the history of the 13th itself. We got their exposition through side quests. Their dialogue, their involvement was good. Golbez has only a few similarities to his Final Fantasy IV counterpart, and most of them are in this patch. It's really just like, yeah, he's got a dragon, cool. But the way they do the dragon is entirely different, and hence how they do Zeramis is completely different. Realistically, towards the end of this is the only time where I really felt like Golbez jumped into like his Final Fantasy IV body, but it was still within the context of 14 itself. So for me, I think this is exactly what I expect. It's not like Omega where he's just like, fuck it, Final Fantasy V boss, come here, fight. You know, that to me is when it's just
for
like,
no reason.
Yeah, that's blatant, just lazy. Like, it's not even lazy. I hate using the word lazy, but it's like, I can't get excited about seeing a character that's just literally pulled out of thin air for no reason at all.
Without any lore kind of explanation or anything. Nope.
I mean, they do give an explanation. He says, there's some story somewhere.
Yeah. It's a half cock. It's like, yeah, I heard a story, yada, yada, yada. Here's Phantom Train. Like,
yeah,
that's it?
Yeah.
Really?
See, that made the first 2 tiers of Omega more disappointing. It's only the last tier of Omega that saved Omega for me, and only because of the actual Omega character. It has nothing to do with all the references beforehand. Like, that's why I kind of like Top is all Omega, because that's the only interesting part of Omega to me in the first place, even though I never want to do it again. Top, that is, not Omega. I'll do Omega again. I'm not doing Top. I need a break, Top. We're good. But for me, this is like ideal. Everything about it is set in a world where people have been asking about restoring the void. Ever since we did Shadowbringers, everyone's been presenting the idea of using the light from the first to restore the void. In fact, when Eden first came out, that was the going theory of why the void even came to Eden. It was like some sort of beacon that they were going to use to like fix the 13th. That was a pretty popular theory. Ironically, we got there sooner or later. Yeah. So, I don't know. For me, this was ideal. I just think for a lot of people, it was overloaded in references, and that was too much for some, versus it actually being a not good expansion of the Final Fantasy XIV world. Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm at with this. Speaking of which, we then take those pillars, we go to the moon on the 13th again, and we go through the lunar subterrane. Really like how they did the lunar subterrane here. Again, this is one where that's completely different from Final Fantasy IV. The first boss is not from the lunar subterrane in 4 at all. The other enemies kind of are. The Ahriman and like a bunch of the other. In fact, the very first enemies are all enemies from Final Fantasy IV. Mm-hmm. Fun little bit for the lunar subterrane. So the big difference here is that instead of the lunar subterrane being this like gradually crazier dungeon, we get sucked into a Memoriat crystal.
Yep. And
in there is the Fall of Baron, which is, of course, a Final Fantasy IV reference. The first trash pack is all of the monsters that you would normally find outside of Baron in Final Fantasy IV. There's only 3 types of enemies there, and that's what the first like packs are. So that's a fun little Easter egg in there that I thought was nice.
A little deep cut.
Yeah.
Deep cut. I like it.
Yeah. But then they did a completely original final boss, which is funny because I say original. It's technically Golbez again, but it's his original self, Durante, which we derived last patch was who he actually was. And then the Antlion, who is hideous in 3D. Like, he's hideous in 2D, but he's really hideous in 3D. Like, obscenely hideous in 3D. Oh, my goodness. And it made for a pretty good overall dungeon. Not to mention Baron falling is, completely independent of the way that 14 handles it versus the way 4 handles it. And the fights are okay. The first one disappointed me a little bit, but the other 2 were good. I don't know if you had similar, different feelings.
For Lunar Subterrane, like, I just ran through it as just a dungeon. I wasn't really looking for anything. There's like, yeah, it's 4, but then like the going into the memory kind of threw me off a little bit. And then like once we were in, I'm like, yeah, I know where this is going. And yeah, I mean, in terms of story, we all knew that, you know, Durante is Golbez, so that wasn't like a huge shock to anyone, except, you know, the Scions, apparently. But yeah, like it's a dungeon. You're gonna do it once and then completely forget about it.
I gotta say, Endwalker, I think is the best expansion of dungeons. I think it's a close because there are some huge highlights for me in Stormblood and Shadowbringers. But having done all of the expansions dungeons a lot, I think at least the first time through, the only thing I actively didn't like was the first boss of Troya. The stupid heads. I was like, this sucks. Like, I actively was like,
oh yeah, that's probably the worst one, honestly.
Yeah.
It's just a mob boss.
Yeah. And I mean, to go over, Amarot has the second boss that's like the same thing, but I didn't mind that as much for some reason. Yeah, that's about it. But when I think about like including like going through Tower of Babel, Tower of Zot, like going all the way back and thinking of all the themes and the environments and whatnot from beginning to end, like for Shadowbringers, there's a few lower points and like Stormblood too.
Yeah. I miss the Aniders. I miss the Aniders.
The Aniders are really good. Yeah.
Yeah, those were my high points.
We even got to hear about them a little bit this patch again for the first time in a while.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, I mean, I feel like while we've gotten less dungeons, we have seen the dungeon design. I mean, 14's dungeon design has generally gotten better. Even the hard modes, like that we used to get, even though they were usually the same thing again, or like going through the dungeon in reverse or whatnot, the designs have always been top notch. It's just the usefulness of a dungeon always coming down to the thing of scrutiny. Although this dungeon's more useful than most.
How so?
Top bis.
I did hear about that, yeah.
Yep. It is our final patch, which means there is bis to be farmed for the 0.3 ultimate, which is top in this case.
A few dungeons ago, there was
DSR bis.
DSR bis, yeah. Which one?
Its 0.3 dungeon is potential bis for 0.1 ultimate. 0.5 dungeon is for 0.3. If an ultimate were to come out into 0.5, which because of Shadowbringers, we haven't had that yet, that bis wouldn't happen for a while. That's one of the reasons why I'm kind of okay with not getting a 0.5. I know a lot of people still want the 0.5 ultimate even after Shadowbringers. They're like, well, let's just not have a pandemic this time. Smile. You know, like they're just taking the optimistic approach. But I do like the idea of people getting the 0.3 ultimate and then getting better gear and pots and stuff at 0.5, and the people who couldn't clear it in 0.3 having now that kind of opportunity to go forward with the better odds, with a little more confidence, more people with experience and whatnot. I mean, somebody in my chat has done like 83 PFs for top. They have 83 kills. And now those get easier.
Wow.
Yeah. And PFs too. Specifically, they go around PFs doing it.
They're the let me solo her of 14.
Yeah. I mean, there's a group of people that do it, that go around and try to help people with like PF ultimate clears and stuff. But top, they're not just doing top; they're doing other ones too. But like that's what I feel like that 0.5 patch. It's almost stronger to have that option for the middle of the pack people who like just can't go crazy on ultimates, but can beat it no problem. They just need like a set amount of time and like a point later, and that little bit of easiness that comes with the extra gear and pots and everything helps a lot. So I think if we get a 0.5 ultimate, you're just going to have a really low clear rate till the next expansion, and then it gets outscaled kind of immediately with whatever we get, whatever job changes we get immediately. So there's some issues with that, but all the same. I like this dungeon. Big fan of the dungeons. And not to mention, we also got bonus dungeons this expansion with the variants and the criterion. So we've had some top quality dungeons.
With rewards.
with rewards. The variants had rewards.
Yeah.
The other ones, we'll see.
Yeah, because
we'll have some answers in a few weeks.
Fuck those people. Fuck those people. Because like, if you ain't doing Savage, fuck you.
No, if you are doing Savage, fuck you, apparently. Excuse me, sir. Would you like a materia? Yeah, feedback. And I'm excited. I'm really excited to see the feedback for Criterion. I don't think it's going to be enough, but I still, seeing any sort of feedback applied is always good. So,
yeah.
Curious to see how it turns out in a few weeks. Got my group all set, ready to go. And it'll be after FanFest, so I won't have to worry about rushing to it before TwitchCon, thankfully. All right. So after we take care of Lunar Subterrane, we get an anime as fuck scene with all of us fighting Golbez and him calling shades of the Four Fiends, another Final Fantasy IV reference. They do all come back. They're weaker independently, but they fight you all at once. So it's exactly the same as it happens here. And they definitely, this is where they clearly just wanted to MacGuffin in a Final Fantasy IV reference. Because they were like, they shouldn't be able to be here. It doesn't make sense. He's like, I guess it's remnants of their power. And it's like, you just wanted to fucking do it because you knew what Final Fantasy IV fans would expect it. You fucking knew what you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
So this one, I feel like this falls into the territory of you could have just not done that and it probably would have made more sense in all honesty. You just wanted to do it clearly.
I mean, we all expected it.
We saw it in the trailer. Yeah, I was just hoping they'd have a better reason.
I mean, even before the trailer, even like leading towards this point before the trailer, we're like, yeah, we're gonna see them again, like all together. We all knew, like all the four fans knew. Yeah,
all the four fans were like, well, obviously they're gonna do that. It was just a matter of how, and they went with a cutscene here instead of like a solo instance. I just think they could have had a better reason than there's like residual ether from your fight with them. Though it's funny because that actually makes sense when you do Myths of the Realm. Ironically enough, two different instances of the same thing happening to some degree. And then when Zero's holding Golbez back while you run past him, it's so funny when you're a Lalafell and you just like the size of his boot and you just run like under his legs. Just jump in the little hole behind him and you're just like... And they hold him steady, and then we jump in a hole and we fight technically Azhdaya. Zero miss, but Azhdaya. And as we saw from the live letter, Azhdaya is the one talking the entire time, so we get to hear Dragon speak. And it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about Zero miss? Have you done the extreme much?
I have.
All right. Yeah, I haven't kept up. So we'll jump into normal and extreme here. Impressions.
Normal. Pretty like solid fight. I wouldn't say chaotic. I wouldn't say too chaotic. I mean, once you kind of get it down, like you really get it down. There's nothing too out of the ordinary. And then you get into EX. And EX has one of those issues, pacing wise, where it's kind of like, what was it? It's kind of like Tree from Savage, where your main mechanic is at the end of the fight. No, your first real mechanic is like right in the middle of the fight, and that's pretty much you're gonna get to the rest of the fight or not. That's
your light rampant.
Yeah. That's your light rampant. Yeah, that's your what was it for Tree?
That's your the Sleepo one thing. Yeah. I don't fucking care. Nobody cares.
Yeah,
it's Tree.
Nobody cares about that.
No, it's not the harvest. It's the thing before the harvests. The holies with the debuffs and everything.
No, No, actually, that was the sleep out mechanic. Harvest was.
Well, no, harvest comes after. All of the harvests come out, like War's harvest and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
and that's the thing. That's the mechanic. That's the mechanic.
Purgation is the one that once you get past it, you're on harvest. Then harvest is the real fight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've put that whole fucking fight out of my mind. I couldn't remember jack fucking.
So yeah, Meteors is the mechanic. Surprisingly, it's not a hard mechanic, but people. And it's not, and see, half the time I really can't even say people. And I will put like a percentage on devs that like they would not allow you to fucking micro adjust to save your life. If you tried to micro adjust, you fucked up. 9 out of 10, you were probably good and you fucked up. Like, let me see how. Okay, I'm good, but can I get closer? No, you're good. You're good. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Those meteors, Sly, have shown me that people do not understand how space works in this game or in general. Because the problem with the meteors is twofold. One, the first people who go don't go deep enough. You need to get your meteor as far to the back as you possibly can. They're just like, oh, my line's fine. Fuck you. And then twos go next, and they're just like, my tethers are not long enough. And then then there's one of two things happens. Either two accepts their fate and dies, or they try to find a spot and get bound in a spot that insta-kills everybody.
Yeah.
But I found that the ones are the biggest problem. And there's actually one particular pattern. There's one pattern that I don't almost ever see anyone screw up. And it's just there's 4 lanes that you can like go down like this.
Each one, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's just front to back, whatever. There's another one, however, where there's 2 really tiny spots in the back right next to each other. But what ends up happening is one person stands in the middle of both spots, and the other one goes like here, which is the next spot over, and then the two has nowhere to go because the next 2 has to be here, and this one's guaranteed dead. Every single time I see someone die, it's to that pattern. It's people not wanting to squeeze in. I've actually gone to the spots and just jumped when I'm 2 to let people know, hey, these are the 2 fucking spots. Stop going over there. You're going to kill someone guaranteed. And then once you're past that, you can honestly just, if your healers are decent enough, you've won at that point.
Yeah.
It's not even like the rest of the fight is bad, but you've almost assuredly won once you get past that. It's a really weird, like, juxtaposition between that and everything else in the fight.
And second phase is just dodge. That's it. Just
a lot of people aren't very good
like
at
Piccolo.
that, Sly.
Piccolo.
Dodge!
Dodge.
The balls are inert. In this case, the meteors are inert.
They really made flare stacks hurt if you don't have 4 people.
Sly, you want to know how much they hurt?
How much?
They hurt. They're lethal when there's only 2 people. That I can assure you.
No.
I've survived with 3. I go healer. We never die to a 3 stack.
Yeah. Okay. 3 stacks were like, okay, we had a group. 3 stacks were pretty much 50-50 for both melee DPS. I had a party. And this was like before the clear party. This is like a PF party, mind you. And again, me going to PF again.
I have so much fun PFing this fight, but I also lose my voice screaming in pain.
So like the first phase, flare stacks. Every time, and it would never fail. We'd have like the You'd have the range and the healers in the back and the tanks and the melees in the front. Makes sense. Except we had one tank who would always like go to the back, and I'm wondering why.
He's like, I'm group 2. I got to go back there, right?
And we kept telling him, like, dude, just come up here with us. And next pool, like, me and the ninja fucking die. Tank, okay. Dude, come up here. We hurt.
Sly, oh my God. I know that tank. They're the tank who must have called the H1 position when somebody put a macro in my emerald weapon party.
And we kindly asked him again and again and again. And like we just, I just left the fucking party. I couldn't do it. That tank was just, he just wanted to go back there with the healers, and every time I'm like, why? Hey, dude, you get uptime. You can. Yes, you can throw things, but god damn it, you can actually hit if you're up here. Why are you not here?
Were they a paladin by any chance?
I think
because
you were the paladin.
Okay,
no, you were the paladin. Who was? No, he was I think warrior.
Okay, because a paladin, I'm pretty sure has their 1 minute there, so that they can actually still do uptime. But no, not a good plan.
It was a valley. Oh well, fuck yeah.
Yeah, because your rec window should be there, so a paladin wouldn't even lose uptime, so they probably weren't even thinking about it.
I was just like, we hurt, please, we hurt.
Still not the play, but I understand them being like, oh great, at least I have Requiescat here. like it's like one of those, oh, I get it, but also, fuck.
We were either like damn near death, like 4 digits or 3 digits, or we were just fucking dead.
I survived with 221 HP once to one of the 3 stacks, so I feel that. Oh, no. I took a 2 stack during Big Bang's stack. 2 people died and the 2 forked lightnings were left alive, so it was me and the other healer, and I survived with like 221 health. A 2 stack.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's only meant to be split by... Well, no, yeah, 4 people. It's the same as the other ones, yeah.
Yeah, one of the forked lightnings didn't fork off?
No. 2 people died who were supposed to be in the stack, and the 2 forked lightnings were still alive, so they couldn't be in the stack. Okay. So it was a 2-player stack. So it was just me and one other person splitting it, and I survived with 200-something health. Scary times. Scary times. But so as a healer, I've never felt more sure of wanting to be healer in Party Finder than I was here. There are so many times that I am confident we would have wiped if I wasn't one of the healers. I hate saying it because I'm not a healer pro. But I'm 100% confident of that. If it was anyone who wasn't me, I'd be shitting bricks. Because I have no trust. And this was such a healer-intense fight. The amount of... I was keeping people alive through poisons. I was catching as many reses as I could. I had my mitts perfectly planned for everything. My healing perfectly planned for everything. And my soul just whittling away every pull, little by little.
Yep.
So glad I'm done with it. I have my mount. I have the music. I'm 1 mount away from Bahamut. Golbez, I'm on my way. Soon. A lot more Golbezes in my near future. Although I will say this. I've now done that fight, Zero Miss, 45 times. I like it more the more I do it. It's just unadulterated fun. It's very much similar to the reason why I like Zodiark, fittingly enough. I would rank Zodiark lower just as a fight, like across all of Endwalker. But I gotta say, I'd be lying if I said I didn't have fun doing Zodiark. And this is like that, but with added in absolute chaos at some points.
So, where would you put this on a scale of Endwalker EXs?
It's like in the middle somewhere.
Really?
Barbaricha's at the top. 100% Barbaricha wins now at the end of everything. I think Golbez is right below that. And then I think the rest is kind of flavor because like I really like Hydaelyn. Zodiark's kind of fun, but you know, too easy because it's entry level. Rubicante is kind of down near the bottom because it's only half of a fight because of all those the fuses. Like that makes up like 60% of the fight, the fuses. So it ends up being like Endsinger at the fucking bottom by far. I think Rubicante could be a contention for the bottom, but Endsinger firmly disappointed me. So I stick it down there. So Endsinger, Rubicante, and then I think it's Zodiark, Zeramis, Hydaelyn. I think I'll put Hydaelyn over Zeramis because I think it's just objectively a better fight. And then Golbez, Barbaricha.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Zeramis belongs in either the third or fourth spot. So it's just fun, especially the last phase. He also is the first time in a long time we had a hard HP push for a boss mechanic. 25%.
Yeah, you're right. 25%. Yeah.
It's funny if he does Void Orb at that time because he just sucks them back in. He just goes, and then they just disappear like half a second later. He's like, wait. No, I want those back. I'm taking them back. There's actually 2 HP pushes in this patch, but that one's the more important one. The other one's in Myths of the Realm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, but overall, I mean, I'm glad. This is a good place to end. I actually, looking back at all the 0.5 EXs, I think Diamond Weapon might have been the best 0.5 EX across all expansions, and then this is kind of up there. I think Seiryu gets not enough credit because I think Seiryu's a fantastic fight.
Seiryu's okay.
I think it's better than okay. Looking back at Seiryu, looking at he had one of the best ad phases we'd had in a long time in terms of all of the like tanks aiming the AoEs and the ads and the explosions that were similar to Sephiroth. And he didn't have any dumb, annoying 2-minute long bullshit gimmicks in the middle of his fight. I liked like the section where you're in the water and then you swim through while dodging the AoEs when you come out of the super attack. Like, I love things like that. Having done Zervan Unreal recently, I think he's still kind of like kind of okay, meh. But this is up there for me. This is one of the better ones. It's not. I think Diamond Weapon's the best of all, but this one's good. It gets my approval. And again, the more I've done it, the more fun it's been. When I first did it, I was like, wow, that's kind of underwhelming. Now I've done it 45 times. I'm like, okay with that. Still can't believe 5 mounts and 45 kills and 1 card. 1.
Still have not seen him out.
I lost it on the second clear. And I screamed at the top of I rolled an 80. And I was like, give it to me! Run! Get out! And then I lost it to an 84.
Feels good, man.
And they've been apologizing to me every day since.
Really good. Why should they apologize?
Because then they watched my PFs afterwards and saw what I was going through and what they had avoided.
Huh. Luck of the draw.
Yeah.
Luck of the draw.
Yeah. It's not a 99. Hey, I won my Diamond Weapon mount with a 62 and my Hydaelyn with a 64. So I have a knack for winning mounts with super mid rolls. Just not now. Unfortunately. That's why I paid 15 million gil for it. 2 million, 2.5 mil split between 6 people.
Still can't believe you did that.
Sly, when you're rich, you can always solve problems with money.
Life lessons with Happy, everybody.
When you have money, spend it. There you go. Then, so we beat Zeramis. We get back on track with the MSQ. And this is something I didn't see coming, but people actually asked me if I thought this would happen.
Mm-hmm.
We team up to fight Zeramis. We have to stop him. Oh, another little bit. Seeing the Source's moon in the cracks along the edge while you're doing the Zeramis fight. Top quality thing. Just thought that was a really nice detail to the arena. And then the Loporrits say later they were actually watching your fight while you were fighting him. So pristine attention to detail on that one. And, we're fighting Zeramis. We need to rescue Azdaya's essence, her soul, her existence. And Zero becomes Cecil in the most formal of ways possible. Or in this case, Cecilia. Where she becomes a paladin. We started Endwalker with paladins, and now the 13th has their own paladin. Paladin on the moon on the Source, paladin on the moon in the 13th. I'm a fan.
I'm going to miss Reaper Zero, though.
I thought she was going to get a Scythe of Light. I didn't think she was going to turn into a full-blown paladin.
Same. That's what I was expecting. Like the scythe, well, the broken scythe would be a Scythe of Light. And no, she just goes paladin. I'm like, okay.
Job change. Yep. Just hits us with the straight job change. And also in the process of her absorbing the light and like just figuring out what it means to like trust and things, she even turns Golbez good. She convinces him. I mean, he gives us his whole, sob story. He tells us the story we kind of already figured out because we didn't. I realized we saw the flashback that explained Durante and everything. We never told everyone. Our character never mentioned it. So we kind of knew as the player, but everybody else only realized it after the dungeon.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, yeah, how the fuck did you guys? Oh, oops. My bad. I should have said that. I should have said something to you guys. Yeah, that's not Golbez.
Maybe
that's Durante.
We should have said something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also have the voices in our cutscenes as well. So, like, we also knew Durante had Golbez's voice. So it all kind of just worked out that way. I will say, I do actually want to ask one thing, though. Speaking about Zero being a paladin now, a warrior of light, if you would. Mm-hmm. Am I wrong in assuming they were implying Golbez was our 13th shard? The original one? It felt like that way with them refusing it to show his face. We were him in the Memoria Crystal. Like, when Durante he's like, oh, Golbez, we have to go. And he's talking to us the whole time. Because then at the end, he sees, like, the Memoria Crystal shows us as Golbez. That was my interpretation of them refuse. Because Golbez has a face in 4. We know what he looks like. Yeah. So they could have just done that. But they didn't.
Maybe a future patch?
I don't think so. Anytime they don't show us a face, I think that we're never seeing the face. Like they did with Azim the whole time. It's just weird. Whenever they refuse to show a face, I feel like it's because they're supposed to be us, and it doesn't, And he also never talks. They never voiced him. They made sure to keep him voiceless in all the other scenes. Just weird. Ardbert's like the only time they've gone against that. Yeah. And just shown us.
Like a sound when he got knocked back.
I think it was just his metal clashing.
No, like a guttural sound, like, yeah.
I don't remember.
Something like that.
Either way, it's not that important. Just an interpretation question. Because that's what I first thought when I was like, they didn't show his face. Motherfuckers. Okay, so then getting back on track. So Golbez is a good guy now. She just convinced him, hey, there's another way to fix all this shit. And he kind of accepted. He did say that if we were stronger than Zeramis, he would actually side with us. He does say that before the fight even begins. And then we beat Zeramis. What else do you want? Beat his ass and put him in a Memoria Crystal once she becomes a paladin. They just hit him with the combo attack, the meteor and the just beating his ass, I suppose, is the other, yeah. And then Azhdaya is saved. And so is the source.
Hooray! We did it!
We did it! And then Azhdaya gets Vreacher's eye, and now is tiny.
Yeah. You think we're getting a Azhdaya minion?
No, if we were gonna get it, I think we would have gotten it then. I mean, maybe if they do a follow-up quest later. I was thinking, oh, here's another minion, and then I'd be like, I'll summon Midgard's armor and be like, well, this is awkward. Yeah, that was my first thought, was getting the Azhdaya minion, but no, I guess not. We didn't get it then. I don't think we'll get it anytime soon. Yep. But Golbez does do something very Final Fantasy IV here again. Again, these are the only locations where he felt like his Final Fantasy IV counterpart. For those who don't know, at the end of 4, and spoilers to 4, by the way, as if anyone should be surprised at this point. Golbez just locks himself in the moon in 4. That's it. He's like disgraced with himself, and he just decides to be with Fusoya, and they're gonna take on the responsibility of the Lunarians, and he just locks himself in the moon. Cecil goes on his way, and everything else is good. Here he almost implies he's gonna do the same. He just tries to leave. He's like, all right, this is my fault. I'm gonna guilt trip myself. And tries to leave, and then this time, though, of course, our new friend is like, be my friend. And he's like, okay. Let's not even handshake. We'll just hold hands like this. They don't even handshake. Like, they grab each other's hand, and then they're just like... It's like...
Again, you're gonna make babies. Promise you.
Sly, you might use your hands to make babies at some point, but it's not going to be quite like that.
I'm saying eventually they're gonna make babies. Eventually, like it gets lonely. It's gonna get lonely in the void. So,
yeah, I wonder how that whole dynamic is even gonna work. Like them just staying in the void to like fix shit. It's like, I mean, they are the strongest voids by the rules of the void scent. They just always have to be stronger than every other void scent. So,
right.
As long as that, and I think Zero is probably gonna beat ass. Anyone who comes there should be like, I've got light, idiot, and just fucking murder them. Maybe we have to bring her a supply once in a while. Let's be like, hey, here's some more light.
Yeah.
There you go. And then that's it. We're successful. We did it. Everyone's saved. They stay behind. We leave them the conductors that are there, because we might need to go the other way with them and send Dark to the first. And Y'shtola disappointed us all by changing her incantation to make Drippy and giving them a pet Drippy. That will help us keep track of where they are in the void.
Oh, she gave us the death stare on that one.
Yeah, but disappointing. Just the... I can't make the sound effect though. Little squeak. I like the idea of somebody's neck squeaking like that. You got to go to a doctor if your neck sounds like that when you nod. Either that or you've got your whole spine is made of metal and you need some WD-40 or something. It's not like a bad door hinge. Yes, ma'am, shake. Mommy, sorry. We go back to the source. We just report back to everyone, but probably the single most important scene for me is when we return to the first. Now, we kind of skipped through a lot of the first with seeing Reen because it's all kind of railroaded. We do get a quick dialogue where she's just pondering on botany, and she doesn't even realize we're standing there, and we recommend coffee biscuits, and she just finally turns around and goes, "Oh, hi." But the highlight scene is when we go back and we're in the Crystal Tower. We got Lena there. She was there earlier as well. We've got Beck Glug. We've got Reen. And they start finally doing something I have waited many a year for them to do, Sly. That's one of the two things that they do. You wouldn't know the other one because you didn't do the Void quest.
No, it doesn't.
She says Unokalhai's name, voiced, which was a big shocker because no one's ever actually said it in any voiced scene before. When you give her the vessel for controlling the Crystal Tower, as she says, they might have to pull darkness into the first at some point. They say Unokalhai's name and says, "I will consult with Unokalhai with this." Oh, that's right. I think Y'shtola does say it in another scene in Endwalker if you've done the quest as well. So it might be the second time. First time acknowledging him being on the first, though. Beck Glug saying it is pretty important.
When Gaia came out, did she give you the I'm sorry, you are done?
She's playing a joke on you.
Yeah, I was about to say, do you not remember?
Well, no, that was kind of the big thing. Is the last tier of Eden is all of her memories being fucked with.
Yeah.
But so we have the Unokalhai mention again in the MSQ if you've done the quest. But then most importantly, if you have done Eden, Gaia just busts on in and has her own scene. If you haven't done Gaia, the scene ends there. She doesn't, There's no way for her to walk in and be involved in any way.
Yeah.
But she's there. She's in a fully voiced scene. The only place her voice has been prior to this is E8, E12, and E12S. And only E8 normal. I don't think she says anything in Savage, because when she shows up for the end sequence in normal with the ice, where she just bashes it with the hammer. And then she is the voice of Eden's Promise, and then she's the voice of Ultimecia clone, Oracle of Darkness, because she is Oracle of Darkness. But she's here. She's in a scene. She busts in. She's just like, "Come on, what are you doing?" And then she asks what you're doing. Oh, yeah. And by the way, for in case no one's picked both options, I'm assuming the option you picked was the coffee biscuit option, Sly.
Yes.
Yeah. The other option is she admits she's playing a joke and that she's been writing memories in her journal every day. And that Reen says that Gaia is actually preparing to write a book.
Oh.
Yeah. So. That's the other thing. I wonder if she's writing Encyclopedia Eorzea Volume 3. She helping? She assisting with some of that?
Possibly.
Yeah.
That book better be purple.
Has to be purple. Can't be any other color. Yeah. I won't know, but at least you guys will recognize it. And on top of that, she also says she wants to go to Amarot and find where Mitron and Logrif were from. She wants to experience that as well. She might even be writing about them. Who even knows? There's a chance, at the very least.
Yeah.
It's so good to have her. In a voiced scene. She even says next time, she's like, "Oh, if you're dealing with darkness, Reen won't be enough. Next time, call on me." And I'm like, I said they wouldn't do it. I said they would never bring Gaia into MSQ. And they did it. I wrote off the possibility. All the Void characters are all in place now. Unokalhai and Silva they both have new dialogue as well. And you know what's fucked up? Silva goes, "Oh, I would have loved to have met Zero." I was like, "You didn't have any dialogue when I was here with her. What are you talking about? I literally had her behind me. You know, fucking not. What do you mean? No, you didn't. You didn't give a shit until I came after this class. You had no dialogue at all." But all the Void characters are now in play. But the real question is, does that mean some changes to them in the future, because if they do void quests, they now kind of have to include Unukalhai and Gaia. But asking people to do the role quests is a lot. I wouldn't be surprised to see them just change the requirement for that somehow. And asking them to do Eden is reasonable, I feel. Do you see that's the next thing? Do you foresee an Eden MSQ requirement in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Do you foresee a Warring Triad MSQ requirement?
Eventually, we're going to get the content that is going to require any of the past, like, trial contents that we have done. So yes, trial or at least normal raid. So yes, we're going to get to the point where there's going to be a piece of content and it's going to require a raid or a trial series. Yeah, like it's not even it's just a matter of time, honestly.
I wonder, only because the void is the one thing that's like, we've explained it, we know what happened, they've reiterated it a bunch. Fixing it, I don't know ever will so much. Like, here's the thing, we'll never actually fix the first. We'll never actually fix the void. I don't think those two things will ever actually happen. I think they're just floating the idea so there's some degree of potential closure to it. Because now they have all the pieces in place, but the functional reason to resolving those things doesn't exist. Versus just knowing, okay, those things, those are in the process of being resolved by the characters. So I think that's all they've actually done, as much as I'd like to believe. But for me, it's more important that they don't just segment these characters off, and that if they do anything involving it, they are together. Because they're all part of one thing, technically. That's how I feel. I don't think we're going to come back to Void stuff anytime soon unless it serves a different purpose.
Yeah, it'll be a hot minute. We've been dealing with the Void for quite some time. A lot this expansion, and with Diablos in the past, and so yeah, I think it's time to give the Void a little bit of rest and respite before we even revisit any aspect of it.
Yeah, I think so as well. But I'm just glad Guy is here. Glad she was given some respect. And Unukalhai and Silva as well. So then we also do a couple other things. We free Alphino and Alcé from their Garlemald responsibilities. And by us, I mean
we
Euless
don't free them. Yeah, Euless does. Like Euless is like, guys, just go the fuck home. just go the fuck home.
They're like, we're so offended. They're like, get out. These fucking kids.
Go. And then everybody who's behind them is just cheering it on. I can just picture them saying, go home. We're tired of you. Go.
Pretty much. And that's freeing everyone up for Dawn Trail, because now Ishtola's got to keep doing her research. Estinian's free. He's done with his stuff with Vritra. Everyone's now set up so that they can go to Tural. And that's how it all kind of just comes to a close. Then we get to our last couple scenes. These are our Dawn Trail / 0.55 teasers.
Yes.
Kryl cleans up all of the annex and finally opens the letter. We knew from the trailer that the letter has something to do with Galuf. And it is indeed a letter that is for Galuf from Gulul Jaja, who, as we know, is the current leader over in Tuliolal. And we obviously know there's the War of Succession that we're going to be participating in Dawn Trail. But then a symbol. She pulls a symbol out of the letter, and it is a 3-leafed clover. It's a little charm or earring or something.
Yep.
Green Mage?
Green Mage. Green Mage.
I'm thinking
now the question is, does Green Mage originate in the New World, or does it originate in the jungle?
I, first of all, don't actually think it's Green Mage, just to be clear.
I think it's Green Mage.
Well, Green Mage is not. Green Mage is like a buffer, debuffer, like some a little bit of time magic kind of deal. Like they've got like, it's a pretty weird assortment of abilities. Whereas that, to me, is a symbol of something else. I think if they're going to go with anything more nature-based, which I know is Conjury, but of course Geomancer always fits that bill, even though they're part of the Kugane and Doma lore. That being said, I don't think it ends up having anything to do with the job flavor. I think it's entirely a fake out. I think she is still going to be the new job, but I don't think that sprout has anything to do with it. I wonder if that 3-leaf clover is just the Adventurers Guild equivalent in Tuliolal. It's like instead of we have a 2-leaf clover, they have a 3-leaf clover. And that's it. It's just their sprout for the Adventurers Guild. Like just like a signature to let them know over there that they've been like invited or something. I'm not convinced that has anything to do with the job just yet.
Okay.
I think that might just be some form of symbolism or something from Tuliolal that helps regarding actually going. Because it seems like what's interesting is that Galuf being invited by Gulo Jaja is strange because, I mean, we'll find out in Dawn Trail why.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's our next mystery. And then we come up to the final mystery in Erenville, coming back from Tuliolal with a friend.
With a friend.
A hairy-footed friend.
Yes. Now, Happy, is this our voice from the Dawn Trail teaser? Now,
100%.
Happy, who is this voice? Because I have a guess, but it's far-fetched, and I
don't think we know who this is. Period.
Okay.
It's a female Hrothgar though, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
That is going to be our first female Hrothgar that we will see, and we will see them a week after they reveal it at Japan. I'm confident. I'm locking it in. That's why they're waiting. They're not going to do it at EU. They're going to do it at Japan. We got male Hrothgar at Japan. We're going to get female Hrothgar at Japan. But that's our other teaser. That's our last MSQ teaser for now.
I had such a far-fetched guess as far as like who it was, but at the same time, I'm like talking myself out of it.
Far-fetched guess of what? We don't know who this person is. We've never met them before. They're from Tuliolal. We've only met one person from Tuliolal.
Here's my thing. Final Fantasy fans might know who this is.
It's not female Kamari, if that's what you're about to say.
No. FF11, yes.
I'm waiting.
It's yeah.
You
from
think
Autodon,
it's not?
yes.
You think it's?
Naja
You think it's Naja Salahim? Oh hell no!
Yeah.
Hell no! She's a cat. She's a regular ass cat, not a big ass cat.
Yeah, she's a Makote. Well, not Makote in 11, but if she'd be closer to a Makote. But Yeah, if they made her into a female Roth, I would be so fucking mad. I just don't want Naja Salahim in fucking 14 at all. I can't stand that bitch. I hate that bitch with a passion. I think Naja is like the worst written character in Final Fantasy ever. Like, ever. I fucking hate that bitch. That bitch does not like tables at all. Like, she don't like desk or tables at all.
She likes maces.
Yeah. She likes slamming the mace on desk or tables.
Yeah, respect your weapon more than your workplace. Easy.
I cannot stand her.
And tiny crowns. Maces and tiny crowns are the things she's into.
Which we have to work our ass off to fucking get back.
Maybe you just didn't owe her so much money, Sly. You'd get along better.
Maybe if the bitch could count.
Call her Naja Nook. Only difference is she ain't selling as real estate.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't think that's Naja Salahim. I'm gonna write that. I'm gonna send that ship out. I know with the memo job, people are looking for some 11 references. I'm not gonna subscribe to that one. But we do know what her voice sounds like at the very least. And that's the thing. I like her voice too much to believe she's Naja Salahim. She does say the final lines in our Dawn Trail teaser, whoever that character is.
Yeah.
Going to Tural. But we'll find out more about that in January, early January. And then we'll have the patch, probably like a week after FanFest, like a week and a half after or something. Yeah, if it's Naja, I'm not going on vacation. Refunding.
I'm staying. I'm staying.
Refunding,
Refunding
collectors. Not going to Tural.
No tacos. No mezcal. No nothing. Nothing. You stay our ass here.
Ugh. Good times. Yeah, you will probably see her formally in the trailer in January. Before we even see her in game, we'll see her in the trailer. Almost certainly. Whoever she is. So that's one major bit. MSQ dungeon, trial, some Dawn Trail teasers. But there are a couple of other things, of course, present. The other big one is Myths of the Realm.
Myths of the Realm.
Which came to I'd say, fitting conclusion.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff going in. We knew. We've known since like day one. Like, I love the option. It's the monkey all along.
Yeah, Derek being Ashan was the obvious bit. He's the traveler, made the most sense. Yeah. But I gotta say, Lim Lane, new favorite mom.
Yeah, she's sassy. I like her.
Yeah, she's a pirate.
So sassy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get the least amount of time with this mom, but that's fine.
And Haps, I was half right with what we experienced in the beginning of this iteration of Myths of the Realm.
Okay.
So we did get a little bit of FaceTime with the
I knew you would bring this
12
up.
that we have. Mm-hmm. The 12 that we've dealt with.
Yeah.
So if any of them were your patron deities, they do make notice of that.
Sucks if you're one of the other three.
I know. Yay, Mom. Yay.
There's actually a great deal of stuff there that can happen. So depending on other quests you've done, you can get a ton of different dialogues with different. Bayergot mentions stuff if you're a crafter. If you did the side quest line in Elpis with Althik and Nemea as their original selves, they bring that up in dialogue as well when you talk to them. You can get some bonus comments from some of the other ones, depending on who the newer
Rhalgr.
ones even. Yeah, Rhalgr as well. So yeah, there are actually some other bits in there. I think Alshan even mentioned something if he happens to be your patron deity at some point. I think he gives you slightly different dialogue. But yeah, and then I went to Azima, and Azima said, I knew, she of course gives me that little bit of, little bit of fun. I think Nafika has something too. I don't remember, but they all have like potential bonus dialogue as long as you've you've done certain things for them before. So they went really ham on that aspect, and it seemed like they knew what the expectation would be. Oh, and yeah, I've heard some people say that if your patron deity is one of the last 3, they might mention it. They might mention it on the way out at the very end when they're all leaving. So like Lim Lane might say something about you there. Oh yeah, and Nafika I think mentioned something about elementals. Right, that's what it is. I think you have to have done something to get like an extra comment. I remember a bunch of people saying some things were different with a bunch of different NPCs with me. Like they had like one thing or another thing or whatever not. But yeah. And then we get the fights. Fights were kind of similar to you, Frosine. They were. I still think Aglaya had the best fights, even though we outscaled them too quickly. These are similar to you, Frosine, in that we outscaled them now.
Yeah.
It's still okay, cool. I think Lim Lane has the best gimmick in the hallway. Them deciding, okay, well, you know, people like the near hallway. I guess this is the one thing we can do for them. And we get that, so that's fun. The final boss, we were both kind of right without being right. It technically is all of them. You have Eulogia, who is all of the last bits of their essences combined. It is their eulogy. And a eulogia is like, I think it means like a praise or something. Somebody was telling me it means like to praise or like grant blessing, but it's also, you know, a eulogy itself.
Oh, yeah. And not eulogia, jubileus.
Stop.
Jubileus.
No. Stop. Stop. Next thing you know, in a couple months from now, we're going to be celebrating Festivus. Just going for all these things. Yeah, definitely, again, all about spectacle. People already want Thalix Realm as a housing area. They put a lot of detail into Thalix area. There's a lot of Mandragoras everywhere. There are Mandragora statues everywhere in Thalix's little corner slice of the world. I don't know what the obsession is with Mandragoras.
I have no idea.
Oh, man. But overall, it was a very somber but fitting end in terms of the majority of the 12 who have now all returned to the star. All the ether they've gathered over the years is now back in the planet and is used to heal the planet. And that's kind of just like what the grand scheme was the whole time. They just wanted to fight and then have us win, and then they would all just disappear. That's it. That was the goal.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward. And we did indeed confirm that the 13th was the Watcher as well. We did go out of our way to do that as well.
Yeah.
If he had been there, they might have won. Fight the Watcher. Yeah, it just kind of levels out, makes sense. And the only one thing that was a little surprising was Derek staying around. He could not leave his friend, his monkey friend behind.
Yeah, the monkey shouting out when Ashan was walking.
Ook, ook, ook.
And that stopped him.
Yeah. Monkey brought us back Derek. That's fine. Derek was always like, it was a fine character the whole time. The only problem with Myths of the Realm is everything's just kind of fine because there's so many deities and everything that they have to kind of go between. They spend a lot of time there. And so like the rest of the characters other than Derek, we've already spent a lot of time with. But Derek himself gets very little time until the very end where he's now just going to be wandering the world.
Yeah. So do you think we hear from Snowgime ever again?
Oh yeah, Snowgime is. They'll bring her back. She was eccentric as hell. There's no way she's just gone now.
Yeah.
The big thing is, and chat's already brought it up. Do you think we find Derek randomly out in the world like we do Alpha and Omega now?
I would hope so. I would love to see that. That would be such a cool touch.
Here's the thing: if they weren't planning on it, by the time we're done with it, they will be doing it.
They will be, yeah.
Because they're gonna see everybody thinking that, and they're gonna be like,
somebody already has to be looking for them right now.
I tried going to some of the stones of the 12 because he said he was gonna travel to all of the prayer altars, and I couldn't find him. He never appeared. So If they are planning on doing that, it might not be till later. So maybe in like 0.5. I'm already just thinking about finding Alpha and Omega in Taral. Apparently he can appear in the Omphalos. Interesting that he even goes back to the Omphalos. I'll have to double check that.
Wow.
Yeah, because even though the Omphalos should technically be gone, we can still, it's not. So I just hope that that's another little small detail. But other than that, fine conclusion. I enjoyed it. It had a nice somber, touching ending. But it's still not. It's not my favorite of the 24-mans. Definitely still kind of goes in the Ivalice and Void Arc tier for me. Or like those are definitely still my peak in terms of overall raid design and everything.
I actually will put Mitts above Void Arc, but Ivalice is still top.
Mm-hmm. I just like Void Arc for the originality. It's really before this, it's the last original raids. Like these two were, they're the two originals to 14. Like they're really, they feel Final Fantasy, and like there might be some references to some stuff like with Diablos and whatnot, but they're wholly, within 14. They're not like, oh, this is just some other game that we're pulling from, like with other stuff. So now we've got conclusions. The Ascians are all the way done with Pandemonium. La Brea mystery solved. Fucking put what's his face Elidibus in the ground for the third fucking time. And then we're gonna have all of the side series stuff wrapped up. We have what's it called? Four Lords wrapped up. We have the Gaia stuff. We've had that little bonus. So we've done all of our loose end tying for the most part for most of Emmett's stuff. Like, yeah, we still have Mericidia, other shards. We have Toral, but there's a lot of tied up threads now. Feels weird because
I feel like Emmett should come back and give us more shit to do.
Emmett just shows up. He's like, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still have to go to the Blind Frost North. Like, there's other things, but we cut a lot of them off the list. Like, post Endwalker has been all about tying up shit that we didn't finish over the last, 10 years. And now I've just got some of the remaining stuff to kind of go through. And they can always pull them back in if they need to. Oh, yeah, I wonder if Alo Alo is technically a South Sea Isle. Or, at least the ones he's talking about. Potentially. Yeah, soon the new world. Don't worry. Emmett's like, all right, they got that one done. They got that one done. I wonder how many more times we're going to flash back to the scene of him telling us all that shit.
So much. Because, again, that's just setting up content. It's just setting up new content.
True. Among other things, mostly just quality of life across the rest of the patch itself.
Custom delivery.
Yeah, I haven't done any of Margaret's stuff. And we've only have the first series of quests for her at the moment.
But still, it's so good. It's so good. To kind of just give you the gist of it. The researchers in lab have to go through a bunch of red tape just to get anything they need. And right now, Margaret's she's high strung, but she's her researchers and her are fucking tired. And they have to sit on hard ass chairs. So her first request, cushions. It is literally our duty to please that booty.
And I know you live for that, cushions. Sly.
And then another researcher has a cat. So needs cat things, cat food. He literally requested cat food or couldn't get it. So we have to make cat things for it. I didn't see what the other things we can make are so far. But yeah. That's gonna be a really, really fun quest line, I think, and one of the funner custom delivery lines. Real quick, quick quality of life for crafters. Haps, when you craft, do you do a lot of macro crafting? I'm assuming.
When I craft.
When, yes.
My question to you is, when the fuck do you think that is?
You had to do some of the beast tribes, right?
Sly, I pressed 2 buttons to be done with the beast tribes.
You can't do that on every craft.
You sure can. You want to know how? You get 1 to 90, and then you accept the quest as an 80, and then you swap to the 90 and quick complete it with the auto complete. And if it's HQ, then you just press a couple extra buttons and you're done. So you absolutely can. You can just do the rapid use as long as you have 190. So
either way, for macro crafters, because like there are a bunch of you out there. Whenever in the past, whenever you've done a macro and you've actually finished a craft early in the macro would still persist, like even after the craft was done. So you would get the error that, hey, you can only use this ability in the craft. Hey, you can only use this ability in the craft until macro ended or you cancel the macro. Now, when the macro finishes the craft, whether early or not, it's done and you don't have to cancel it. You can still use macro cancel like if you fuck up and hit the wrong macro. But yeah, you don't have to cancel the macros anymore. It will actually stop. Dead stop once the craft is finished. So yeah, I thought that was good.
yeah, chat said you get. Oh yeah, well no, before you get the error. Yeah, okay, that's good. That's really nice.
Yeah. Because I know like a lot of us have made that mistake where we'll go ahead and start the next craft and then the macro is still going, so we accidentally like fuck up and lose mat. So yeah, good job.
That's good. I do actually need to get a macro. I need to get a little bit of gear in macro and just burn through 100 leave quests. I'm just sitting on money that needs to get collected, as far as I'm concerned. But I haven't done that yet. If anything, I need to get back into my island sanctuary. I gotta start prepping that money. I got to make that money, and I'll be all set. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Yeah, because most everything else is gonna be it's gonna be just later. Like now we're not. Yeah. Not so much in. I mean, right now I'm working on Gold Bez. I just need to get Gold Bez done and then maybe make some money. But I might even be hopping on 11 again soon just to try to finish up the final story that I never finished.
Which one?
Voracious Resurgence, because it's done, like completely done. Yeah. So I gotta get that done and Denny, and then Super Mario RPG stuff.
Yeah, I gotta get back to Wings of the Goddess.
Oh, yeah, you got a ways to go. A ways to go. But first and foremost, I want my Bahamut mount. Did I sell? Yeah, I sold my Unreal mount day one. Hell yeah. And then I made a party of people who said they remembered Thornton, and we learned very quickly that remembered is a wide term.
Very wide.
Took us like an hour and a half to get the 2 clears. But my heart rate was through the fucking roof. I did get a fox this week, though.
Nice.
I get foxes almost every time there is a fox. But I haven't had a fox in like 3 weeks. It was very unfortunate. Oh, it's 150 points for the week. I almost have 600 again. Then I'm going to sell another one. More mounts. Trying to make that bank, Sly. Listen, I sold it for 15 mil, and then I bought another mount for 15 mil. I gotta be in the positive, not neutral. I gotta put that money in the bank. I did also sell one of the void pieces, the abyssal diamond from Zeramis. His crafting item. I sold that for 1.8 mil. That was nice. I am shocked somebody was buying it for 1.8 mil. Speaking of that, Emerald weapons, shiny weapons came out, and nobody gave a shit because that they got less expensive after the weapons came out. Not even in like the, oh, now a bunch of people are selling, but in the like, wow, these look like shit. Nobody wants them. So they're like not even 100K a piece. The fucking crafting item for it.
Yeah, I'm still waiting. I'll be waiting for a long time. I'm still waiting on mom weapons, Heidelin weapons.
Everyone's waiting on Warrior Light weapons. That's what people were hoping for this patch because we did Ruby already. That was it. Everyone's like, oh, we did Ruby, so Warrior of Light next. They're like, ha, Emerald, bitch. And they're like, asshole. Okay, it's fine.
Nobody asked you.
I asked for Warrior of Light. I'm ready. And then they're going to do, now they're going to do Diamond next instead of fucking Warrior of Light. Although I like Diamond weapons. I like a lot of the Diamond weapons. So most of the Emerald weapons I did not like. So I don't blame other people for not liking them. But that's our 6.5 impression. You know, we blast through a bunch of that. Oh, and update. I am 45 tomes away from all 19 of my Mandervilles being ready for January. I have 1,455 tomes. That is 45 short of me buying my last 3 items, and then all my Mandervilles are at Majestic. So, Golbez is going to get me across that finish line as I get them out. What a time. What a fucking time. With that, though, I think we can wrap up State of the Realm. Which is good because I got a busy afternoon, so we're done like 20 minutes early. Works for me. Listen, Sly, I gotta call a boarding place so that I can get a place for my cats while I'm at TwitchCon. I gotta get their vaccine stuff up to date because otherwise the boarding place won't take them. I got some other things I gotta do. Out. And then I gotta go to the gym. It's deadlift day. I got to pump. I have to pump, Sly. I have no choice.
There's always a choice.
No, there's no
According
choice.
to Castlevania.
No. Ready to pump. All right. With that, thanks everyone for tuning in to State of the Realm. Next week, I was thinking about doing a more dedicated spoiler cast with someone who's a little bit more knowledgeable. I don't know if Moose is available. I have to ask him. If not, we would...
I had 3 other lore people, so yeah, I can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you wanna do a lore show next week, and we can let Moose have a fucking time to himself, that's also fine.
Yeah.
So feel free. And then the next week we won't have a show, and then the next week after that will be about FanFest, because that will have to happen the week prior, and then we'll have and then we'll probably have a Criterion show after that, and so on and so forth, and we should be good. Okay. Well, with that, thanks for hanging out, Sly.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, what are you up to?
I appreciate it.
What are you up to?
You can find me at twitch.tv/Sly, aka Gray Fox. You can find me on Twitter at Sly the Fox. This weekend, Frosty just hit me up, so I'm gonna be on Mog Talk tomorrow. And then after Mog Talk, first Saturday, Monsters in Town. 3, Monster Stomp. Bring your spoopy glams. All the spoopy glams. That'll be Saturday night. Line starts at 8 p.m. Doors open at 9. Other than that, Sundays, I'm usually your haven for football. So anybody who's into the sports ball, you're more than welcome to chill with us while we watch the games and yell at our TV screens or computer screens. And got some plans for down the pipeline, way down the pipeline. I'm talking like close to the new year. That will be really big for on 14th, actually. So please look forward to it. Hi. I talk about the RP walk during Lunicon. Oh yeah, apparently I did Leviathan EX blindfolded.
What do you mean apparently? What, did it happen or did it not happen?
It did. Okay. But here's the thing. I did it blindfolded because it was a challenge for Lunicon for a segment, and I didn't realize that I had RP walk still on. So everyone died because like the challenge was to see like how to do it actually blind, or and I survived just by RP walking. I didn't even really move that much. I thought I was running, and apparently I almost fell off, but yeah. So that was fun.
Good job, Sly.
Thanks. And Happy, what's going on in your life and your neck of the woods?
Not much. October, mostly just getting a few videos ready. TwitchCon and all the things I need to do ahead of TwitchCon are pretty much at the forefront of my efforts, including needing to be prepared for waking up at fucking like 1 a.m. to do FanFest stuff Saturday at TwitchCon, which means I gotta leave Friday early, which I don't mind, but it's gonna be a time.
It's okay. You'll just be you'll just leave a party and go directly back to the hotel.
Leave a party, bro. I'm leaving the con at like 4 p.m. because I need to eat and go to sleep by like 5.
You can just go to a party and just get back to the hotel at 1 a.m.
No. Of all the things that's happening, that's not one of them. I just got to make sure that my mobile setup is good. I tested this the other day. This is, like I said, this is my John Madden mic. That's all it says. Hey, folks, John Madden here with the quick popcorn popper. Somebody earlier was like, how do you know about John Madden, but not... Who is the person you said earlier?
Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, that person. Whoever the fuck there. Yeah, like, how do you know about John Madden? I was like, bro, every football game I played growing up was Madden, Madden, Madden. They all his fucking name all over it. How could I not know his name? And also Frank Caliendo doing John Madden impressions, which, quite frankly, I've seen more of than actual John Madden clips. Which is where the popcorn popper quote comes in, because that's from Mad TV. From back when that fucking existed. So... good times. But yeah, I'm just doing that. Might do 11. Super Mario RPG, crowd control. And then demo day. I still need to play Silent Hope, Star Ocean 2, and Dragon Quest Monsters demos. Probably do that after I'm done with Gold Bez. Once I collect from Big Man himself. That'll probably be first thing on the list. But yeah, that's all I got going on at the moment. And just YouTube stuff, as per usual. So, and gym stuff, which, like I said, I got to go do soon after I make some phone calls. So, let's wrap this baby up. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining for this week's show. Next week's show, we might do something a little bit more lore dedicated. But next show after that won't be for another couple weeks, towards the end of October, after Criterion is out and after FanFest and all that other stuff. So, we're going to go into a very short post-show. And we'll see you next week. So thanks everyone for tuning in. And